Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about the wiring harness that I'm going to build for the 2017 Tacoma, uh, aka Beefy Taco 2017, if you want to follow me on Instagram. What I'm trying to do here is I bought a pretty badass relay box off the internet. I'll show that to you guys once I get it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have 5 switches in the cab, up in the headliner. Pretty cool little submarine switches I found. I'll show that to you guys whenever I get that too. But in anticipating getting those parts, I'm going to build a wiring harness that I'm going to run from the switches to the relay box, which will these switches will control the relays, turn them on, which essentially will then supply power to whatever lighting implements that I'm going to have in the future. I haven't really decided yet. That's later on down the road. So 5 switches, so we'll have 5 command wires, and then we'll have a 12-volt hot, which will power the switches, and then we'll also have a ground because the switches are lighted. So whenever you have a lighted switch, you're obviously going to have ground on that switch to be able to turn the light on that switch on. Then you'll just have all the switches will share a common 12-volt accessory power, so they're only powered when the vehicle's on. And what I'll do is I'll run 1 power wire in there, and then we will daisy chain kind of those together in the switch box, and then I'll have 5 color-coded wires going out. So what I did here, just for the sake of saving money and ease, you can buy bulk wire online if you want to go that way. I was just kind of being lazy, and I kind of needed a project this weekend, so I just kind of went around to Lowe's, Home Depot, and auto parts store to kind of see what I could find to build this harness. So what I went with here, this is actually a trailer wiring kit. You get 4 wires, white, brown, yellow, green, which I'm going to use as my command wires, and then I'm going to go ahead and use blue as well with that, so it'll be my 5 color-coded command wires. So yeah, but anyways, this stuff's already connected. It's actually, you get 25 feet. It's a 16 to 18 gauge, so they claim, which is fine for a command wire because you're not really pulling any load through it. It was 14 bucks, which is a lot cheaper than if you buy the wire individually. I think at the auto parts store, this stuff for 25 foot is going like $7. I found this at Lowe's for $5.99, so saved $1 there. And then probably about $10 to $12 going with this. Probably what I'll do is I'll actually split this in half and keep 2 of these connected. And then what I'll do, so take a step back here a minute. What I'm going to do is I want to put my harness in conduit. Now, I couldn't find like a flux conduit. I'm sure you can buy it online, but like I said, I'm kind of working with what I could find in town. This stuff here is a 1/4 inch to 1/8. I played around with it. It's a shrink conduit. I can get 3 wires inside of this and then shrink it. So obviously I'm not going to be able to get all 7 wires in one. So what I'm going to do is I'll do 2 command wires, actually 3 command wires in one, and then I'll do another one that has 2 command wires in my power wire. And then what I'm going to do is I'll kind of, once they're shrunk down, I'll link them on top of each other. Then I have a whole bunch of smaller shrink tube here that I already had, and I think this is actually a 3/8. We'll just slide over them, and every foot or so I'll put one of these, shrink it down to kind of hold my harness together. And then what I plan to do for the ground wire, you're asking, okay, you got 7 wires here, 5 command wires, a ground, and a power. What I'm going to do with the ground wire is I'll probably leave it exposed and maybe just kind of run it on top of these 2 and then shrink over it. And the reason for that is I want to ground it as close to the switches as possible. So, I mean, there's no real reason to run it all the way under the hood. All you need is a chassis or a body ground. So that's why I'm going to do that. But anyways, I'll kind of do a little time lapse here. I'm going to go ahead and get this put together and show you guys the finished product, and then I'll talk to you about how I'm going to route it down to the battery. It looks like it's going to be a pain in the butt in the headliner because you got some airbags on the A post of the car, and so I'm probably going to have to go all the way back to the C post because this is the access cab. It doesn't have a B post. So the C post, run it down in the floorboard and then through. So we'll see how that works out. I haven't really torn it apart yet. It's a rainy day, so I'm kind of trying to stay inside and keep my hands busy. But anyways, thanks for watching. Well, here, in a snap of a finger, we'll go and I'll show you guys finished product.